And also I would like to welcome my colleagues and my students and all the participants of this webinar. Once again, I welcome you all. I take immense pleasure in introducing our chief guest, Swapnil Garg. He is the founder of Nurvision. He has completed his master's degree in IIT Kharagpur in RF and microwave. He has demonstrated the software in more than 75 engineering institutes across the India and various research organizations like ISRO and DRDO. He has published more than many papers, many research papers, and he has a wide knowledge and expertise in the field of EDA tools, which includes PECO, ESISM solutions, and QuickFuse. He is the former employee of NI Logic. We are so happy to have such a knowledgeable resource person. And let me introduce about Madhura Prashikar. She is an amateur astronomer and she is in this field for more than last 7 years, motivating young champs to pursue in this fast-growing field. She is the co-founder and president of Zenith Astronomy Club. Recently, she got elected as an official ambassador of astronomy and astrophysics space from India. She is currently working on the payload designing of the satellite, which will be launching next year from SpaceX. She witnessed the launch of Chandrayaan-2, and she teaches the astronomy to the students, mainly from the rural area, who hardly get exposure to this field through online and offline. And we are so happy to have such a knowledgeable and energetic resource persons for this webinar. And I also thank on behalf of K. Ramakrishnan College of Technology for accepting our invitation. And now I hand over the session to Mr. Swapnil Garg. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, thank you, sir. And good afternoon, all the participants. It's been our pleasure to have the webinars in association with the Institute Ramakrishna College of Engineering. And I'm very thankful to the HOD, sir, Syed Akbar, sir, and Dr. Jones, sir, for organizing and for coordinating this webinar. And I hope that in this webinar, students are going to get the exposure on different kind of antennas and the basic antennas, as well as how we can achieve best learning practices in the antenna design, which can include cloud computing, machine learning, and many advanced technologies that we are going to discuss today. So I will share the screen of the software just in front of you here. Yes. So now here this graph user interface of the software explains about different kind of electronics design. So when we do electronics analysis, so generally students are confused between what are the different kind of analysis the electronic student need to perform. So there are basically 4 kind of analysis by using which student can explore the electronic subject in more detail. So first one is the circuit design, where student can drag and drop different circuit components like resistor, inductor, capacitor, form a circuit, and then run the circuit analysis to find out the gain of that particular design, or to find out different applications like rectification, amplification, oscillation. These studies are there when you drag and drop the circuit components and design the circuitries. So the circuitries can be made by different passive as well as active devices like resistor, inductor, capacitor, as well as diode, transistor. The second block that electronics engineering should be aware of is the block diagram design. So in the block diagram design, we have different kind of blocks which are connected to each other in some way, so that it can make a system. So we call this as a system, and that system is basically performing different kind of applications like oscillations, filtering, and so on. So we can make FIR filter, IIR filter by appropriately choosing the feedback loops and the block connections. The third design that electronics student need to know is about 3D CAD design. So mostly when we think about these low frequency applications, so we don't include too much into the 3D applications like electric field, magnetic field. That field study we do in electromagnetics, but in circuit design, we don't calculate the magnetic field mostly. We just calculate voltage and current at different point. But when we are having a problem which is in the space, 3D space, and we want to solve that problem at higher frequency, so there are like lot of couplings, lot of parasitics, these kind of issues are going to happen at higher frequencies. So because of that reason, electronic student also need a 3D software. So at our time, this 3D software were not popularly known for electronics engineering, and they were popularly known for only mechanical engineers. So like aerodynamics, structural analysis. So there are some mechanical engineers that they were using the 3D softwares, but now electronics engineer can also use the 3D softwares to calculate the electromagnetic field interactions and many other effects at higher frequency. And fourth one is again, many electronic students are confused about is coding. So yeah, so just similar to the 3D CAD design that we used to think that it is for mechanical, but now it is for electronics. Similarly, the coding and the computer science things are also not only for the computer science people, and they are applicable for electronic student also. So by writing the codes, we can make different analytical formulations. We can run them just like a low pass filter. If you want to implement, then we can put those things into like 1 minus e to the power minus st by tau kind of formulation into the codes, analytical codes. And when we type those code, we can run the code and we can see the waveforms. So this coding is also necessary for electronic student. And nowadays there are a lot of applications of the coding that is expanding in all the domains, that machine learning, AI. So those are not limited only to computer science engineer, but these are now generalized topic which can be applicable for any field, though it is finance, though it is engineering, though it is related to non-engineering problem, we can use the coding. So yeah, so the software uses these 4 basic operational things so that electronics engineer can study all these scenarios more effectively. So I will open this circuit design. So once I open this circuit design, I can see that these are the drag and drop facilities where we can drag and drop different resistors or diodes and the voltage sources. This way we can connect them, and once we connect them, we can also like run the analysis, or we can double click on any parameter to change that particular parameter. Let's say amplitude or frequency we want to change. So I'll make it 200, and the amplitude I will make it 2. Okay, first we will keep it 1 volt only, and in the next simulation we will make it 2 volt, and we will see that what is going to happen here. So I'll run the simulation. So there are different kind of simulations when we solve the circuitries. So that is like DC simulation, DC analysis, we can say. When the DC voltages are applied, so in that case we can perform the DC analysis. Then transient analysis, where the signal is changing with the time. Then AC sweep or frequency domain analysis, we can say, where we want to change the operation frequency of the signal. And S parameter analysis or scattering analysis is very useful for observing the reflections and the transmission of the circuitries. And this S parameter analysis is mostly used in higher frequencies. So in microwave analysis, we are going to perform this S parameter analysis. And there is also symbolic analysis, which is useful for solving system equations for control systems or like that. So we can get the transfer function equation in the form of equation where the symbol can also be present. So for now, I'm running this transient analysis. So we just need to enter the time step. Start is 0, end is 0.01. We can also call it as 10 millisecond, and number of time points are 101. So it is simulating this problem now. And after simulating this problem, we can see different results. Voltages at register. So R0, VA and VB, I will plot. So we can see that this is like the voltage is getting clipped around 0.6 volt because of this diode. Now we will increase the voltage level. Instead of 1, we will try to make it 5. apply. And now again we will run this simulation. And now we will plot the voltages again. Yes. Sorry, I closed it. Yeah. So in these two graphs, what we can see here is when we have 1 volt as an input, the output was around like this voltage at point B was around 0.6. But when we increased this voltage at 5 times, now it is input voltage is 5, but still the output is around 0.6. It is not increasing by 5 times. So it is not following the linear equation. In linear case, what is going to happen is that once we increase the voltage by 5 times, the output will also be increased by 5 times. It follows the superposition, or the linear equation system. But here it is not following the superposition or the linear equations. When I'm increasing the voltage by 5 times, the output voltage is not increasing by 5 times. Like we are expecting that instead of 0.6, it will be 0.6 multiplied by 5, around 3 volt or something here. But it is not around 3 volt. So that's why we call this particular circuit as a nonlinear circuit. And this nonlinearity is included because of this diode, because diode is the nonlinear element in this circuit. So similarly, there are again different kind of subjects. So we can go through different subjects like microwave circuit design is also possible. So once you go for microwave circuit design, you can take different microstrip components, coupled lines, corners, cross, gap, so on. So you can use these kind of components to perform high frequency analysis. So T's and cross and all these discontinuities and high frequency models are there. So it is useful for creating the microstrip networks, rat race coupler, and so on. And we can also use different kind of transmission lines like coaxial pair cable, then rectangular waveguide. So by using these components, we can create different high frequency circuitries, and we can run these high frequency circuitries, and we can run for the S parameter analysis here. So we can take these isolators, circulators. So mostly all necessary components are there. We can also make the circuitry by using CPW lines. Now I'll go back to the home and click on the circuit this block diagram design. So the difference between circuit analysis and block diagram is that in circuit we are having the relation between voltages and currents. In block diagram you have voltage between voltage and voltage only. So this is also called as signal flow model, and the circuit is also called as conservative model. So here again we can perform different kind of subjects, which can be like communication system or control system. So we can take different feedback loops and these delay blocks, and we can make a feedback loop from this particular system. So we can add the wire. So this way we can make these feedback systems, and we can run the simulation. And at the output, we will have Nyquist plot, root locus plot, Bode diagram. Then there are also a few more subjects in this control system. So you can also go through all these subjects. So this micro circuit, electronics, power electronic, control system, communication system, signal processing. So in communication system, you can draw different modulation techniques we can study here. So we can add this ground, and then we can change the frequency again here, and we can run the simulation. So it is going to tell us how will be the modulated frequency, modulated signal. So we can also go on adding this demodulator circuit, and we can make this larger circuit also here. So for now, I'm just using this basic block to see the amplitude modulation. So this kind of waveforms will be generated after performing the amplitude modulation. And we can also see the Fourier of this particular signal. So any signal we can draw on the FFT scale. So here we can see what frequency components will be present in the circuit in this signal. So yeah, 200 is the input signal frequency. So because of that, we have 1000 minus 200, 1000 plus 200. So similarly, we can also do this FIR and IR filter design by taking different Z inverse block or different samplers and amplifiers and so on. So our goal is to study this third design components in more detail. That is like 3D circuit design or 3D microwave design, we can say. Apart from this 3D, I will just give one more detail about this. So these are the 4 subject levels, like circuit we have seen just now, control system, and this system block also we have seen. In 3D, there is this facility of drawing different structures. Like we can use different cable wires and so on. So for now, I will just quickly simulate one dipole antenna, and I will explain this dipole antenna later, or I will go to the ready examples. So if you see here, so this particular design is allowing us, this 3D design is allowing us to make the 3D designs, and there are different operational modes for all the subject. So one is companion mode, second is full control mode, third is hardware integration, and fourth one is MyTarang portal. So I will also explain these different operational modes now. So when we go to the companion mode, so in the companion mode, we are able to see these 3 tabs are there, like nodes, simulation, and submission. So when we are in the companion mode, here we can see different theory or the literature of this particular subject. So for example, I want to study dipole antenna. So I will open this dipole antenna content. So there will be a theory of this dipole antenna, which can be written by the faculty very easily. So it is also easy to edit this note. So once we are here, it is like very similar to Microsoft Word. We can type the things, or we can make a particular thing here bold or italic, or we can change the color or the font size like that. So it is very good, very similar to Microsoft Word. So very easily faculties can type these things, the notes. They can add the images, they can put the videos and many other things they can add it here. After editing or after adding the things, the next thing is simulation. So in the simulation, we can see these 3D models or any related circuit or any other block diagram we are having, we can see it here. And after that, we can see different results of this particular design. So this is the real part of input impedance, then the magnitude part, S parameter. So the second unique feature of this software is the slider. So what I will do is that I will take one slider here. So suppose this is the dipole antenna which is simulated in the companion mode, and now we want to see what is going to happen if we change the value of this diameter. So we can also assign different slider for different elements. So this slider is again user defined slider which can be created by the faculty. So here we can see that we can increase the diameter of wire, and we can see how the real part of input impedance is. So once the wire diameter increases, the input resistance will reduce. So that thing we can observe here. So in the software, whatever parameter we are using, we can assign them as a slider. So the diameter of wire, the value of resistance, the value of the location of port, anything can be slider. So we are increasing the diameter, and we can see how the real part of input impedance is decreasing. So we can see that both the plots are updating simultaneously. Again, there is third plot we have plotted here. So I'll show that also. So this is S parameter graph. So now we will see that what is going to happen to the S parameter when we increase the diameter. So here we can see that this S parameter is reducing. So we can also compare these different results. So when the diameter is 1, when it is 2, when it is 3, then 4 and 5. So we can see that how these values are changing after increasing the diameter. These values are changing in this way. And in the software, there are also facilities of different annotations or anti-aliasing. So once we do anti-aliasing, this curve will be more smooth. We can also add the markers and many other facilities which are there for in any tool are available in this software. So when we are having the 2D graph, we can also have these markers. We can zoom, we can pan the graph. So many facilities are there. We can export this graph. We can save it as JPG, PNG. We can save the CSV file. We can change the font of this axis. So many things we can do with these graphs also. And there are also features that we can plot multiple graphs like angles, then the Smith chart. So different kind of necessary plots are there by using which we can understand this particular concept. We can also see this voltage distribution, current distribution. So okay, so here this is the voltage distribution where we are going to see that at one side it is peak positive and other side it is negative maximum. So the voltage is having this maximas at the two end, which is positive and negative. Red means maximum, blue means minimum. And here we can also see the current distribution. We can also plot them in 2D. So the current is maximum at the center and minimum at the end. So we can see here it is maximum at the center and minimum at the end. Then we can also see the radiation pattern in 3D. And the near field also we can plot. So we need to just define the space on which we want to plot this near field. So here you can see the near field of this particular antenna. So we can play the animation again. And similarly, we can plot other graphs also like contour diagrams and viewer plot. So this is the basic idea. So in the companion mode, what we are having is the nodes. In the nodes, there can be a theory written for a particular example. Then there is simulation tab. In the simulation tab, that particular model will open. Whatever theory we are reading, the same model will be attached to the simulation tab. And there is one more tab which is submission. So submission is related to question answer sessions. So we can go, we can add multiple MCQs here. So basically students are going to read the notes. Then they are going to open the simulation model. They are going to play with these simulations. And after doing these simulations, they can understand the things and they can make the submissions. So right now this submission in the offline software, we can only see the questions but not perform the submissions. But when we go to the online portal, so on the online portal, we have the submission facility also. So in the online portal, we have entire facility that teacher can create the account, teacher can upload this content to the portal, can request, send the request to the faculty, faculty can accept the request, faculty can upload all these simulation models on the portal, then student can access that models on the portal and they can perform the submissions, then the report card will be generated. So all these facilities available on the portal. So for now, I'll just tell you how to upload this content on the portal and how to create and how to upload on the portal. So for that, we just need to click on this create button. So once we click on this create button, we need to give the title like sample 1, and then we need to write one introduction, one line introduction, and the abstract can be multiple line. So once we add these things, once we click on OK button, so it is going to be added in this list, we can see. And here we need to just right click, edit the notes and start typing. So when we type these things and when we save these things, so that content will be created. We need to go to the simulation model. So I will explain that how we have created this simulation model. So we can create this dipole antenna or many other examples in the simulation model itself. So yeah, after discussing the web portal, I will discuss how we have made these simulation models and simulation. So here we need to create the simulation model and run the simulation analysis. And after that, we need to add multiple questions. So once we right click, there is a window which here we can type the question. So we just need to cut this and we need to type our question and options, option A, option B, option C. And once we type the question, so I can also edit this option. So once we click on add, we can also have supporting image. So once we click on add, this question bank will be created. And after that, we just need to click on the upload button. So once we click on the upload button, all these things will be uploaded on the web portal. So how it will be uploaded, I will just explain that. So so for that, we just need to have this account. Okay, so at the start screen, we can see that there is user ID, password, and API key. So you need to register on the website of MyTarang. So once you register on the website of MyTarang, you just need to enter this API key, password, and this particular email ID. So this software is also running this simulation on the cloud. So it is necessary that user should be logged in. So this machine need to be connected on the internet, and once user enters this detail, it will be connected to the Tarang cloud. And whenever faculty clicks on the upload button, so to this by using these credentials, that particular account, that things will be uploaded. So to get these credentials, you need to visit MyTarang portal. So here it is. Here is the button, launch MyTarang portal, or we can also get MyTarang portal from this fourth operation mode. So once we click on this particular button, this website will open, and you can take this user ID, password, and API key from this particular website. So I will open this website. Yeah. So you need to join this particular portal to get access of all these things. So I request Madhura to explain this MyTarang portal now.
Yes, thank you, sir.
Yeah. I hope that it is clear to the student that what we have discussed so far. And after discussing the portal, we will discuss few more examples on the antennas.
Is my screen visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Visible, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. So, as said, this is MyTarang portal online, and here you have to log in. So I will log in from my account. So here you have to enter. Students can enter their Gmail account and type the password whichever they want. first you have to sign in, where they ask about your email ID, password, and then they give the mail, and you have to click on the activate account. After that, if they are faculty, then you have to click on teachers, the institute, and students for students tab, and simply click on login. I will log in through student right now. Okay. Now this is the dashboard where students can see their profile. Now when you scroll down, there is the API key here, which you have to enter. Now I will show you this resource center. So here on the right side, we can see resource center. After we click there, yes, here in resource, I will show you about the half wavelength dipole antenna. So once the faculty has uploaded their content, they are seen here. Faculty's name comes as an author. Here the notes which faculty uploaded, the students can read all the notes first, then they can go through the simulation. Here for the simulation, after they click on design, they can see the design, 3D design of dipole antenna, whichever antenna faculty uploaded. Then the voltage distribution, or the different colored voltage distribution, failed cut plane. I'll not go in detail because sir already explained about this. And also the third tab is of simulation, where students can submit all the answers. It is a sort of quiz. So there is ABCD options, and yes, I did it. So this is, they have submitted. Okay. Now this faculty can anytime change their notes whenever they want, and also students can remotely operate Tarang software. Here there is open in desktop mode. So after clicking, then you have to enter your email ID, password, and UPI key, which is in the dashboard, and then the Tarang software is opened on your desktop. So I hope I'm clear with the login thing. And here you can see the teachers, number of teachers with whom you are connected from your institute. Hello, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir. So anything to add?
Yes. I will share a few more things from my screen.
Okay.
So you are able to see my screen?
Not yet, sir.
Okay.
Okay. I'll share once again.
Yes, sir. Now it is visible.
So yes, sir. Thank you, sir. So here we can see that this was the dipole antenna examples that we have discussed earlier, which was uploaded on the portal. So once we click on the upload button, the same things, the simulation models, the submissions are going to be uploaded. So I'll open it here. So there are different examples that are uploaded by this particular faculty. So this model we have already seen just now. I will show you the desktop version of the software. There are so many examples that we can go through. So for now, the same thing we can see here, the simulation, the examples. So to start desktop version of the software, we need to click on this particular button. So once we click on this button, another small software is going to start. And in that software, we can see all these simulation models again. So this is the third product that we are having. So first product is the full software. Second is the web portal, and third is the desktop mode of the software. So I'll just show you the desktop mode of the software. So by the time you can also see that there are different plots which we have discussed earlier are uploaded here in 3D. So student can access all these things from their phone, smartphone, or we also have the Android app. So we can also directly open these things in the app also. And the unique thing is that open in desktop mode. So this is one of the most important button. So for example, this is the design. So in the web portal, I can only see this result right now. But suppose I want to edit this design and run the simulation again and see the result. So in that case, we can open this software and we can do these things.
Hello, excuse me, sir.
Yeah. Yes.
We can't see the desktop mode. We can see cloud screen.
Okay, okay. I guess I need to share entire screen.
Yes.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Maybe there's net issue from his side.
Okay.
Okay, I will continue this about the desktop.
Please go ahead. Please go
Okay.
ahead.
Okay, so this is the desktop version where we can see the whole simulation. Okay, after we click on open in desktop, the desktop version starts. So yes, the screen appears where we can modify all the designs for the antenna. Okay, so here this is a half-wave dipole antenna where only one screen is visible where we can't see the companion mode and other things. This is the tweak simulation which sir explained about. We can change the diameter of the wire. So it is just sliding of the wire. As per the application, we can change. Yes, so we can see the diameter changing. After double clicking on the wire, we have to see the length. So as this is 200 meters, we can change it from -100 to +100 and click on run. Okay, so this is the starting frequency and the stop frequency. Okay. And we have to click on simulate button. So now it is in simulation mode so that it can give results. So this is the S parameter, scattering parameter. Then we can see the current distribution. Simply we have to drag in the screen so that we can see the dipole. This is a 3D radiation pattern. Yes, it is donut shape because it is half wave dipole. So we can also see 3D as well as 2D radiation pattern. Now for starting the simulation, like to run voltage distribution and contour, we have to change minimum, maximum and N. So this is a sort of resolution which we can see. Here we can keep it from minus 200 to plus 251. We can change it as per our need. Okay, it is starting. As it is running in real time, it may take 1 minute or so to start. Yes, this is field cut plane, and we can see the simulation simply by right clicking and clicking on run. Yes. So there also we have export to VR. We can view it in VR. Okay. Yes, so this is a field cut plane, but we can't see the run simulation online. So for that, we can see it on the cloud software as well as desktop software. But we can view the same thing here. So this is the desktop software where we can only see the full screen and we can design whichever antenna we want to design it as per the applications. And also faculties can change the notes for the theory part and the lab practical, as per the lab practicals, they can give questions to students. So this was about.
So thank you, Mudra, for explaining this desktop mode of operation. So the basic difference between the full software and the desktop mode of the software is that desktop software is again connected with the cloud. Whatever example we are opening on the website, it will open in the desktop version automatically whenever we click on open in desktop button. And then we can practice more simulations, change the size. But again, one more difference is that in desktop mode, we can edit the geometry. However, in this full software mode, we can also create the geometry. So now we'll see that how we can create the geometry or how we can create the design. So rather than like only creating and how to create and how to simulate the problem, I will also try to explain the physics behind that problem. And we will start from a simple dipole antenna, and we will try to experiment on the same dipole antenna in different ways to see the different effect that we are going to get. So now I'm sharing the screen. Yes. So we will discuss a simple dipole antenna first, and then from that dipole antenna, we are going to try different variants of different antennas. So to create the dipole antenna, first we need to click on this wire. So we are going to create a dipole antenna which is going to operate at 75 megahertz frequency. So can some student calculate the resonant frequency or the like when we are having 75 megahertz length, then what will be the when we are having 200 centimeter length, then what will be the resonant frequency? Yeah, if any student can calculate this parameter. So I will explain that how we can calculate this. So to calculate the length of dipole antenna operating at 75 megahertz frequency, first we need to calculate the lambda. So the lambda will be 300. 3 into 10 to the power 8 is equal to 300 into 10 to the power 6. So 300 divided by 75. So it is around 4. So when lambda is 4, the length will be 2. So in the centimeter, we can say that it will be 200 centimeter. And to create a wire of 200 centimeter length, we need to take 2 points, 0, 0 plus 100, 0, 0 minus 100. So once we create these two, take these 2 points, it is going to create a dipole antenna of having a length is equal to 200 centimeter, the diameter is equal to 1 centimeter, and the material is copper. So by default, we are choosing copper as a material, but we can also change these materials here. So after doing this, we need to click on OK button. So this is the simple step we need to make for designing a dipole antenna. Now what we are going to do is we are going to apply the port at the center. So once we put a port at the center, we can again double click on this port and we can make sure that this location is 0, 0, 0 and the characteristic impedance is equal to 50 ohm. And we will click on OK and we will run the simulation now. So the simulation we are going to run from 25 megahertz to 500 megahertz. So instead of 0 zeros, we can also type it like E6. So that format is also supported here. And the center frequency is our resonant frequency, which is 75 megahertz frequency. So we are going to simulate this problem. After the simulation, we can see different result. So yeah. So real part of input impedance, imaginary part of input impedance. So here, student can note down that imaginary part of input impedance is initially capacitive, and it is changing from capacitive to inductive, and again from inductive to capacitive in this way. So at lower frequency, we can see that this is capacitive because it is starting from minus infinity. That means this open wire is going to work as an capacitor at lower frequency. Next, we will also try to make this wire as closed, and we will try to observe that what will be the behavior. So in that case, we expect that it should be inductive because we know that duality principle. In the duality principle, it is explained that inductor, when we replace open with short, then inductor will be replaced by capacitor will be replaced by inductor. Then electric field will be replaced by magnetic field. Voltage will be replaced by current. So same things are going to happen here. Now we will see the resonating frequency. So whenever this imaginary part or this reactive part, we can say, is becoming 0, that time the dipole is not storing any energy, and we can see that it is showing us better match. So that particular DP is going to occur around 75 megahertz frequency. So at that frequency, this S11 value will be less than minus 10 dB. We can also check these angles. So at that frequency, this angle is changing from minus to negative to positive. So this negative is because of the capacitive effect. Again, in the S parameter graph, you can see that these resonant frequencies are repetitive. So first is at 75, second will be 75 multiplied by 3, something around 210. And again, it is like in this multiple order. We can also see the VSWR. We can also change the scale. So I will select this graph, and for this graph, I want to change this. Yeah. So there are chances that we can change the width of line. Then we can change the color of graph. Then we can change this name also. I'll just make it VSWR. Then in the axis, I will make it plus 10. So 0 to plus 10 or minus 0.1 to plus 10. So in this way, we can change these parameters of 2D plot. And here in the VSWR, we can see that when we are having frequency 75 megahertz resonant frequency, so that time the VSWR is less than 2. So now I will plot this near field. I will just increase the box dimension because earlier we have plotted from minus 200 to plus 200. So now I will be increasing it to plus 2000 to minus 2000 to plus 2000. And we will see this radiation pattern as well as, okay, I will just increase the resolution of this graph so that it will be nicely visible. So instead of 31, I will make it 51. And now I'll plot this. Okay, the near field we are plotting now. So here we can see how this near field is, how this antenna is going to radiate. So I will play the animation. So from the top we can see that it is going to be look like a circle. So here also from the top it is going to be like a circle, and from side it is going to show us this kind of radiations. So from the side view, so we can imagine that how this near field is going to be radiated and how it will become a far field. So now in the next simulation, what we will do is that we will try to make this antenna closed so that it will be a square loop antenna. And when we have this square loop, at that situation, what is going to happen? So just now we have discussed that it is going to become inductive. So we will see that how it is going to become inductive. So for now, I'll keep this graph open. So I will make it closed. So to make it closed, I will add one more wire. So this wire is having 200 centimeter length. So I will add, to make it square loop, there will be another wire which is located at 200 centimeter like this. And once we draw, once we short these two wires from top and bottom end, so it will be a square loop. So I will take two more wires now. So it will be 0 to 200 with positive 100 as Z, and again it will be 0 to 200 with negative 100 as a Z. So now it is going to become a square loop. Now we will run the simulation for this square loop antenna, and now any student, if they have learned this loop antenna, they can tell me the resonant frequency for this square loop. So by the time I will run the simulation. So right now I'm putting the center frequency as 75 megahertz only, but it is not 75 because we have changed the design. So now anyone can tell me the resonant frequency for this square loop. So to calculate the resonant frequency, in case of dipole antenna, we have made that like when the length become lambda by 2, that is the resonant frequency. But in this case, we need to make circumference. So circumference is equal to lambda. So in this way, we need to equate. So what will be the resonant frequency? So the circumference is around 200 plus 200 plus 200 plus 200 is 800. So 800 is equal to lambda. That means frequency is equal to 300 divided by 800. Something like that we can do this. Okay, so it's going to be around, yeah, if someone have calculated this resonant frequency, when lambda is equal to 800, that time whatever frequency we are getting, that will be the resonant frequency. So I will run this simulation till 100 megahertz only, because there are a lot of higher order resonant coming. So I'll make it up to 100. Yeah, anyone calculated this resonant frequency, or I will try to calculate it. So yes, it is around 40 megahertz. Not actually 40, it is like that formula we have explained, 300 divided by 8. So once we do 300 divided by 8, it will be like 75 divided by 2, 38.5, something like that it will come. So here we can see that resonance is going to happen at that frequency, 75 divided by 2. So that will be the resonant frequency here. And again, the second dip is coming at 75. We can observe it here. So the second dip is around 75. So this is the way we can make a loop antenna. But here the interesting thing that we wanted to observe is the this real part of input impedance and the imaginary part. So in the real part, we have this lot of fluctuations. So because of this lot of fluctuations which are present in the loop antenna, we can say that this is having less bandwidth. And the second thing is that the imaginary part. So this imaginary part is starting from 0. Initially, it is positive. So now we can compare these two graphs. So the downside graph is for dipole, and the upside graph is for this folded dipole. So folded dipole is or square loop antenna. So the loop antenna is inductive at lower frequency. So we got this expected result here. Now here in this S parameter, if you observe, this dp is not less than -10 dB. So it is not operating properly. So to make it like operational at this particular frequency, these two frequencies, we need to have this S parameter less than -10 dB. So to get that S parameter less than 10 dB, we need to perform some impedance matching. So let's see how we can perform this impedance match. So to make this impedance match, this input impedance and the port impedance need to be same. So in the theory, it is written that when we have this folded dipole antenna, it is the characteristic impedance for this folded dipole antenna is 200 ohm. So we can use this particular impedance. So it is like 4 times more than the dipole antenna. So once we make this 200 ohm, the impedance match is going to happen. Now we will simulate this design. And now once again we will plot this. Yeah. Now we can see that this S parameters are less than -10 dB at 75 megahertz as well as at around 38.5 megahertz. Yeah. So now we will see the radiation pattern. So I'll just divide it by 2. Yeah. So at this particular frequency, we are finding out this radiation pattern. So yes, so at this resonant frequency, 37.5, sorry, 3.37.5 megahertz, we'll get this kind of radiation pattern. So again, here we can see that this radiation pattern is not like dipole antenna, and it is showing maximum radiation towards the axis. So this is axial mode of radiation. So the folded dipole antenna radiates maximum towards the axis. We can observe this from this particular radiation pattern. We can also see the current distribution. Yeah. So right now this first wire is connected to second wire directly from this top and bottom shorted wire. We have this loop, and because of this loop, we can see that there is current on second element also, this vertical element. But suppose we did not join these from we did not join these two wires from this top and bottom, then what is going to happen? So will be there any current on the second wire? Or so that we want to observe now. So I will try to remove these two wires, and then we will see that whether there will be current on the second wire or not. So I will just select this wire, then delete, select, and then delete. Now we will run the simulation once again to see if there is current intercepted on the second wire or not. Previously there was current because it was shorted, so there was a path for the current. But now let's suppose we have one wire which is excited, and there is another wire which is kept closed, and now we want to see that whether there will be current or not. So we have removed the two wires, and now we are running the simulation once again. So again we are going to plot this S parameters. So now this S parameter is going to show us a dip at 75 megahertz, because when we remove these two wires, the effective previously it was like this current was flowing on all these wires. So because of that, we have taken that frequency, the effective length was more, and because of this larger length, we have this resonance shifted towards left. Almost the length was double, but now after reducing these two wires, the length is again this only, the first dipole only, and because of that, we got the second resonance, that first resonance at around 75 megahertz. So we have like after reducing this, after removing the two element, the frequency of this resonant frequency is increased. Again, this is not less than minus 10 dB. So the reason is that the characteristic impedance for this open wire antenna is 50 ohm. So we can again make it 50. So for short it is 200, but if it is open wire, then we can make it 50. And now we can run the simulation again. So I will close this, and yeah, now we can see that we are getting better match here. So this is less than minus 10 dB. And second thing is the current distribution. So we can also observe the current. So yeah, so even after removing the top wire and bottom wire, we have current on this second element. So we'll plot this in 2D. So we can see that this is the current on first wire, and this is the current on second wire. So there is current flowing on another wire, even after removing that shorted wires. And now we will see this radiation pattern also. So this radiation pattern is now similar to the dipole antenna radiation pattern. Okay, the operation frequency is changed now. So I will run the for radiation pattern. I will enter this frequency as 75. So yeah, so at this frequency we want to plot the radiation pattern. So I will simulate this, and now we will plot the radiation pattern again. Yeah, so this time this radiation pattern will be like this. So earlier, if you see, the radiation was towards the axis. Now also the radiation is similar here. So this particular radiation pattern is called as end fire radiation pattern, like end fire array. So similar things are exist. Means for loop antenna, the axial mode of radiation is equivalent to this end fire array antenna. In case of end fire also, we get a similar kind of radiation pattern. So this is like directional radiation pattern that we are getting. So earlier, when there was only one dipole antenna, the radiation pattern was omnidirectional. But now, when we have one wire and when we have second wire kept close to it, in that case, the radiation is going to change, and we can see that this radiation is having some directivity. Now, what we will do is that we will try to change the length of this wire, or I will make this wire closer to this first wire. So I will, instead of 200, I will try to reduce this dimension. So let's say I will make it 50. Yeah. Now the wire is more closer. So when we have this wire kept more closer to this first wire, that time the current coupling will be more. So now we will observe this result. Yeah. So now here we can see that how this current is coupling. Yes. So this is current on first wire and this is current on second wire. So the current amount is increased after making it more closer, and we can also see the radiation pattern. So yeah, so now this radiation pattern is changed a bit. So we can see that when we are having this wire close to this driving element, the radiation is in this particular direction. It is in opposite direction. Now we will try to change the length of this particular wire. So I will make this wire shorter. So for that, I will enter the dimension, let's say minus 52 plus 50. So that is half of the first. So now we are having this first wire and then second wire, which is shorter in the length. Now we'll run the simulation. And now we'll see this radiation pattern again. Yes. So when we have this wire shorter, that time we can see that this radiation is maximum towards the wire. So we can also see that there is one wire here, and we can see that these radiations are maximum in this particular direction. So when the element is shorter, the radiation is maximum towards that direction, towards the shorter element. So because of that, it is directing the signal. So this shorter element we also call as director. I will add one more shorter element this side, and we will see that it is going to increase the directivity. Right now, you can just note down the directivity. Here it is 1.74. In case of omnidirectional pattern, it was 1.5. That time I forgot to mention that, but here now it is increased. It is 1.749. Now I will add one more smaller wire, or I will try to make this even smaller. So instead of minus 50, I will make it minus 20. 2 plus 20. So now this second wire is much shorter than the first. Now we will run the simulation and plot the directivity. Yeah. Okay, so we need to increase the diameter, the length, or we need to increase the directors. Just yeah. Sorry, 75. 2 plus 75. Yes, and now we'll run the simulation. So now we can see that yeah, the directivity is again increased 2.29. So when we are having this element shorter, then the radiation is maximum towards the shorter element. So because of that, this shorter element is called as director. So right now we are using this second wire is like half of the it is 150 centimeter and this is 200 centimeter. So when the wire is shorter, it is going to work as a director and it will have maximum radiation in this towards this direction. Now we will try to make this wire more, greater than this wire. So instead of 75, we will enter some bigger value like 125 to 125. So the second element is now greater than the first element. So now we will run the simulation. Now we'll plot the radiation pattern again. Okay, now here in this graph, we can see that, okay, I think, okay, this dimension is too big. Okay, 125. Okay, by mistake, I entered 1200 here. Now we'll run the simulation again. Yes. So now here we can see that this bigger element when we have, so it is going to work as a reflector. So the maximum signals will be in the opposite direction. So from these two graphs, we can see that the shorter element is going to attract the radiation, the larger element is going to reject or reflect the radiation. So this is the concept of Yagi-Uda antenna. So in the Yagi-Uda antenna, we have the same things. At one side, we have bigger element, at other side, we have smaller element. And even if in that case, when we increase the number of smaller element, the directivity is going to change. So now we will try that thing. So we will add one more wire. So yeah, so it is like 50 is the separation distance. So here I will make minus 50 because we want it to be at another side. So 75 and plus 75. Yes. Now we have this one side will be at one side we have bigger element, at one side we are having smaller element. Now we will get more directivity because one part is working as a reflector and one is as one part as a director. So now we can see this radiation pattern. So it is like more directive as compared to earlier. Earlier that directivity was 2 point something. Here we are having 3.169. So now we will add one more director. So we will see that how the directivity can be increased. So we'll add it at minus 40, and I'll make this, or we can also have similar length. So minus 75 to plus 75. Sorry. We can increase this spacing. I will try minus 60. Yes. So for now, we are keeping the second element at minus 80 distance. So we are having two directors. Now we will plot this radiation pattern once again. So again, we can see that after adding one more director, the directivity is again increased. So this is the left one. We can see that it is 3.99, means around 4. And earlier it was 3.169. So this is the way that we can go on adding the reflectors and the directors to get the directional radiation pattern, which we can also increase the directivity of this particular radiation. So there are some formulas in the textbook how to design Yagi-Uda antenna. So this here we have just randomly taken the elements just to demonstrate that how we can achieve the desired directivity and how we can get the directional pattern. But by properly using that values which are there in the book, we can also design the Yagi-Uda antennas. Yes, so far we have simulated three antennas. First one was dipole antenna, second was square loop antenna, third one was the Yagi-Uda antenna. So similarly, we can also design many other examples like antenna arrays and so on. So for if we want to make antenna array, we need to apply the excitations, or we need to use the current source. We need to apply the simultaneous excitation. So we can put that simultaneously excitation on different wires, and we can run the antenna array simulations also. There are many examples. We can also do the microstrip patch antenna design and so on. So for now, I'll open those examples. And student can use this software to study mostly all the antennas which are available in their textbook. We can make end fire array, broadside array, then polynomial array, Chebyshev array, binomial array, then log periodic antennas, then patch antennas, then many other examples they can try and simulate P-phi antenna. I will also open few examples which are there for helical antennas. So I will open one example of helical antenna now. Yeah, so this is the example of helical antenna. Similarly, we can make these square loop antennas and many other examples we can try. So for now, I'm running this helical antenna at single frequency. I will make it like 500 megahertz. simulation time for this particular example can be slightly more as compared to the dipole antenna. So we got the simulation. I'll just plot the simulation results. So the radiation pattern, the current distribution. So here again, just we have simulated this Yagi-Uda antenna and the loop antenna. So similar radiation pattern will be there because helix is nothing but a combination of loop. So we got this radiation pattern towards the axis. So axial radiation pattern we can see here. Then we can also see the current distribution. So on different elements, we can see that how this current maximas and minimas are going to repeat. So there are several examples, like we can make spiral antennas. Many other things are there. So I will just demonstrate. So from here we can take these different shapes like circle, ellipse, and so on, and we can make different kind of antennas. So these are linears. In the next, we will see how we can make non-linear or planar antennas. So in case of linear, we can like draw these shapes in this way. We can select them. We can right click, assign them as a radiator. We just need to enter the diameter of this particular radiator and the operational this material properties. So in this way, we can create this wire antenna. And now when we want to make some planar design, so for that, we can also go to this particular window. So I will explain. Yeah. So microstrip network is also there. So here we can take this board PCB. Yeah. So we can enter this dielectric properties here, whatever dielectric we want to use. And once after taking this dielectric slab, on this slab we can construct different things. For example, for microstrip line, if we want, then we can simply draw this line. For now, I'm just drawing it randomly. So we can change these values like -10 to +10. This y point is 0. And then we can select it, then assign this microstrip line properties. So randomly, I'm using this width value, but student can also accurately calculate the Z0, and accordingly we can calculate the W. So in this way, we have simply created this microstrip line, and now we can apply the port. So one port will be at left, other port will be at right. We can also add inductor, resistor, capacitors, all these loading element on this particular design. So this is 50 ohm, and this port location is -10, 0, 0, and again second port is also 50 ohm. We can also change the annotation. For example, if I want to make this port rectangular, then in the excitation we have this port. So we can select this port and right click and edit the annotation so that we can make it rectangular. So when we want to make it box, so we can just enter the So this way we can like make this port and this microstrip line network. So this editing annotation is optional. It is just changing the appearance from sphere to rectangle. But when we run the simulation, the results will be like accurately calculated. So we are running this analysis from 0.1 gigahertz to 10 gigahertz with 2 gigahertz as the operating frequency. So once we simulate this, we can see different plots like the magnitude plot. We can see here the S11 and S12 parameters for this microstrip network. We can also plot the current and this Smith chart. Okay, sorry, this is the Smith chart. So S11 and S12 we can see on the Smith chart, and we can see voltage distribution, current distribution. Yeah, we need to like make this field, turn on the field so that we can also plot this 3D result. So these 3D results are not required for microstrip network, but for microstrip antenna it is required. Means suppose we are having transmission line, then in that case we don't find the radiation pattern, but we find S12. But in case of antenna, we find out the radiation pattern. So similarly, we have different examples for this microstrip also. This rat race coupler is also there. So I'm just opening this rat race coupler. So here, after running this rat race coupler, I need to check whether this file is for the same format. So we need to run this rat race coupler, and after that we can see the different results. So this is 4-port network. So it is going to give us the S parameter of 4x4 matrix like that. The next model which is available in the software is the interconnect model. So I will just go to VLSI interconnect. So again, we have different kind of interconnect models so that we can see here. I will open one of the example. So it is loading. I have loaded one interconnect. Yeah. So this is 30 pin interconnect. So this is one of the complicated design. We can also find out the parasitic coupling between different elements. So we can, in this case, we can get the S parameter 30x30 matrix. So this is a very large matrix that we can get from this particular software. So there can be different cable bundles, cable bars. We can calculate the signal integrity, crosstalk issues for different cable bundles and bars. So we can see that in case of antenna, there were only 2 wires or 3 wires, but the software is also capable of solving multiple wires. So in this example, we are having around 300 wires. So even if there are 300 wires, so the software is a particular thing. And why the software is fast? So the answer is that the software solves this geometry by using surface formulation rather than volume formulation. So if you see other techniques which are available in another commercial softwares, which are FEM and FDTD, so both the techniques are volumetric techniques. That means we need to make a volumetric mesh, sugar cube mesh, or tetrahedral mesh, and then we need to solve. So because of that, there is like a lot of memory requirement and space requirement. But in our case, we are not solving using these volumetric meshes. So because of that, the simulation result we can get in less time with more accuracy. Now I'll go to another topic which is related to radar analysis. Similarly, in the software, there are also other lot of CAD design options also. For example, suppose we want to, yeah. So till now I just explained this part curve, but there is also like surfaces, booleans, and transforms. By using this option, we can create almost any kind of geometry. So here we can take surface like rectangle, or we can also take this box or sphere or cylinder. So all these things will come in 3D. So once we draw it, so we can see that these are the 3D things. We can double click and change the location and the size also. So after double clicking, we can say, suppose I want to make it like 0, 0, 0, and length is like 2. It is all these parameters 2. So we can see that the dimension is going to change. We can also change the color. So these things we can change. And after that also, after creating these models, we can also select any model and assign different properties to that model. So here we can assign perfect electrical conductor or resistive sheet, composite material, multi-layer composite, PEC coated multi-layer composite. So that kind of like electromagnetic properties we can assign to those design, and we can simulate that design, and we can get the result. So for now, I'll just go to the simple design, which is like rectangle. So suppose we want to find out the radar cross section area of this particular rectangular sheet. So in that case, we need to okay, to make it unit area, we will include width is equal to 1, height is equal to 1. Now we will select this particular rectangle and assign this as a perfect electrical conductor. So PEC is by default, but there are lot of material options. We can also have multi-layer composite and so on. We just need to enter this dielectric constant and permittivity. So once after creating this material, we need to run the simulation. So when we want to design this RCS simulation, there are chances that we can run bistatic RCS, monostatic RCS, then theta polarization, phi polarization, reflection, single reflection, double coefficient, double reflection. So all this setting we can do. We can also plot this radiation, this RCS in XY plane, YZ plane, XZ plane. We can define the angle, starting angle, end angle. So all the necessary options for calculating the RCS are present in the software. We can define the angle, then the material, then the CAD design, then which kind of RCS we want, monostatic, RCS, bistatic, everything we can define and we can simulate. So after simulating this problem, so right now we are simulating this at 1 gigahertz frequency, and we can see these different results. So yeah. So these are the results for this particular rectangular sheet. So that means here these radiations are maximum when the RCS will be maximum when we see this rectangular sheet from the top side, when the theta is 90 like this. We can also plot this in 2D. Okay. Again, we will try to increase this frequency, and we will see what is going to happen after increasing the frequency. So now I will make this frequency is 2 gigahertz. And we will see this radiation pattern, radar cross section once again. So when increasing the frequency, we can see that this RCS is increasing again. So now it is, previously it was 21.46, now it is 27.48. The number of side lobes and many other things are increased. So we have also published one research paper on this RCS module very recently in ATMS conference, and the paper that we wrote got best paper. So I can also share that paper with you. Means if someone is interested in writing the research paper and all these things, so yeah, so we can also help out, and we can discuss these things. So this RCS solver is one of the fastest solver, because when we see this rectangle, so this rectangle is 1 meter in the size, 1 meter by 1 meter. That is like very, and we are running this simulation at 2 gigahertz frequency. So when we compare this 2 gigahertz frequency and the size of this rectangle, 1 meter by 1 meter, so at 2 gigahertz frequency, this 1 meter size is very large, if you see. So even like most of the antennas, when we design at 2 gigahertz or at 4 gigahertz, they are having very small dimension, like 10 centimeter, 20 centimeter, like that. But here we are having 1 meter by 1 meter. So this is a larger dimension. But even after having this large dimension, we have simulated this RCS very quickly, and we got the result. So we can also do these RCS studies for most of the complicated structures. So here we can use these Boolean operations to union, subtract different shapes. And there are also all the necessary transformation operations, like which are necessary for doing any kind of CAD geometry, CAD model. So those are sweep, extrude, taper. So by using these options, we can make almost all kind of shape: duplicate, array, rotate. So suppose there are some geometries which are very complicated and mostly designed in another software, and then we want to import that design. So the software also have the facility of importing. So this, after clicking on this button, this particular window will come. So this import file. So in the import file, we need to point out the STL or OBJ file format which we want to import. So for example, I'll just import one of the like Steel the Bomber. Many geometries are there, many applications are there: Air Force application, then Army application, Navy application, space application. Suppose we have imported Helio. So in that case, we can see this helicopter geometry. So we can also find out the RCS of this helicopter geometry. So when we try to observe this Helio at 1 gigahertz frequency, again, this helicopter is having very large size as compared to the frequency. So we'll make it again PEC for now, and we'll try to simulate this at 1 gigahertz. So we are able to solve the large body problems, large size problems, just in a very less time by using a normal laptop. It is not required that we should have a very high configuration laptop. So even if the available resources, whatever they are, like 4 GB RAM or 8 GB RAM laptop is there, so we are able to solve this problem on the laptop also. So it will take around 2 to 3 minutes, maybe, not more than that. But if you see the problem size and the frequency, then even if we are solving this problem in 5 minutes, then also that time is very less. So we'll wait for few minutes and the result will be there. So by the time, if anyone is having any question, they can ask the question. So till the simulation is running.
Participants, if any query supposed to have, please ask to sir. Please unmute and ask to sir.
So you can also register on the web portal and get access. One more thing is that I forgot to mention about the cloud computers that we have given to the Bennett University. I will also demonstrate that cloud computers. So yeah. Yes, I'll just start Tarang website. The simulation may take few more minutes. Yes, this RCS simulation is completed now. Now we'll see these different results. So yeah, so when we observe this helicopter from different angles, so how it will be detected under the radar. So that waveform we can see here. So that this helio will be reflected maximum from the top side and from this particular angle, and again from bottom side also that reflection will be maximum. So we can predict that when it comes under radar, how it will be detected, and how we can reduce this RCS by applying different kind of coating. So that things come under this stealth technology. We can also see the current distribution. So yeah, so when the waveform is coming from the bottom side, so red part shows that where the waveform is getting heated. Waveform will hit on this particular object, on this particular side. So when the signal is coming from bottom side, this maximum reflected part will be this red one, and the minimum reflection will be coming from this blue part. So we can see that. We can also play the animation. So when the waveform is rotating, how this current interception is going to change. Yeah, so now it is bottom, now it is top. So from the top angle, this bottom reflections will be minimum, and it will be reflected maximum from this top side. So we can see this current distribution for different angles. Yeah. So now I will demonstrate few pages that we have for the institutes. So there are several institutes that are using this cloud platform. So to start the cloud platform, we just need to install the connector, and so every institute will be designed with one connector software. So once we click on this connector, it will download the connector, and we just need to install the connector. And once we install the connector, we will be able to launch these instances very easily. So for Bennett University, we have created 5 instances because the strength is 48. So in every instance, we have added 10 members, like 10 members in every instance we have added. So these members are going to access this particular instance. So when we click on launch button, there is one machine, means there are where this Tarang software is already installed on the cloud, and student can directly access that software from anywhere. Means they can access these services from their home, from their institute, from anywhere that machines can be accessed. And those machines are running 24/7, so they can access it anytime, anywhere. So they just need to click on this open Tarang Cloud connector, and after clicking on this button, so after clicking on this button, one window will appear. Enter the credential for this. We can see that this Amazon.com. So where this is the credential of that machine which is located on the Amazon. So once we enter this password, so right now I don't have this password, but I have submitted all these details to the institute. So once the student enter this password, he will be able to open this cloud machine just in front of him, and that cloud machine can be accessed from website, from Android phone, or from the desktop version of the software. So once they access this cloud machine, they can perform the practicals remotely. So there are different institutes which are using this facility, like Bennett University, then Sant Longowali Institute of Technology, then Batu Lonere. So there are around 20 institutes so far that which are using this particular facility. So IIT Kanpur, NIT Trichy, many institutes are there. We have got this access of all these machines. So they just need to go on their institute page and access these machines and run this cloud computer-based simulations. So to get these cloud machines and all these things, you have request or student can also go on the My Tarang, they register, they will be able to see all these resource centers and many other things which are available on the web portal. So it is not only the software, but it is also about the web portal and how we can connect teacher with the student and make this interactive learning possible. And this kind of practice is best suitable for the pandemic situation. So there are different subjects that student can learn by using this advanced cloud computing facilities. So anyone is having any doubt or any questions?
Participants, please unmute yourself and you can ask your queries to sir as well as madam. If any query supposed to have, please unmute and ask to sir. So I think so all are well cleared. I think so, sir.
Yes, sir.
Well
Thank you,
cleared
sir.
about all the topics. Yes, sir. Please,
Good
please ask
afternoon, sir.
questions.
Myself Rajat from AVIT Chennai.
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, sir. Thank you, sir, giving the information. Sir, whether we can download this software, anything, or we have to in online only we have to do it, sir?
Yes, sir. Right now it is online, but we have given this download facility before January. Means last year, entire year we have given. Means in the pandemic, it was started from April. So April, May to January. This 6 to 7 months we have given the facility for the use for anyone to download the software and use the software. It was pandemic time, so because of that pandemic time we have given it mostly to everyone. But after January we have removed that version from the website. Right now it is not downloadable, but if anyone want it, then they can request and we can make it available once again.
Because now also that pandemic is extended, so kindly
Yes,
extend
sir.
your process as some few more months, so that
Okay, sir, we will
others
try to
can
extend
learn
it. Yes, sir, surely, sir, we will try to extend that duration for 3 or 4 more months, and where people can download and use it. Yes, sir. So even
thank you
if
for
you
your
want, then
kind
you can.
message, sir.
Yeah. Yes, sir. And even if you want, you can personally message me or personally mail me, so I can make it available through any other way, like Google Drive or any other way. Right now on the website, it is not openly downloadable, but we can share if someone is requesting it. Yeah.
Okay. If
So
possible,
I
you
will
can
share
give
my
your
contact
mail
details,
ID
sir.
or something, sir.
Yes, sir. I will just share my contact details. Just. I think this chat box is disabled. I will share it on the screen only.
Sure, sir. Sure.
Yes, sir. So, so you can note down my contact details. So my email ID is gaulswapnil@hotmail.com, or you can also write to swapnil@numerigen.com.
It is not shared, sir.
Okay. Sir, can you see the PowerPoint?
No,
No,
it is
sir,
not.
sir.
Yes.
Not shared your screen, I think, sir.
Okay.
Very nice software. You shared all the information. Thank you, sir. And thanks also,
Thank you,
sir,
sir.
to arranging this webinar, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. And if anyone wants to know more details of the software, they can personally contact us. And we are also planning to like visit the institutes after the lockdown. So maybe there are chances that we will meet personally also after the lockdown gets after the situation becomes better. But till the time, we can connect remotely or over the phone call. So my phone number is 83902 40903. So I'm also on the WhatsApp, or you can directly search Swapnil Gaul. I'm available on the LinkedIn as well as on Facebook. So yeah, if this contact detail is visible to everyone.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
So I have also one more email ID, swapnil@numerigen, and also the person. There is also more email ID, support@numerigen.com, which is shared among the company only. So it will be nice to interact with you on the phone call, yeah, and discuss all these issues in more detail. And we will be happy to help out the student also for conducting these experiments interactively, as well as for faculties to publish their research work. So we are going to help in both the ways to the institute, so that it can be beneficial to the institute also.
Sure, sir. Sure, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yes. Welcome, sir.
Participants, if any other supposed to have query, please ask. As to say. So I think so. We are running out of time. Yes, sir. That's why I think so. Nobody is asking. Okay, fine, sir. Thanks, sir. Thanks
Yes,
for
sir.
your
Thank you, sir.
that is a presentation of your entire software for EMF electromagnetic fields towards the antennas and the research articles, everything, sir. Very nice, sir. Okay. So
Thank you,
now
sir.
the vote
It's
of
been
thanks.
nice interacting with you, all the students. Yeah.
Yeah, fine, sir. It's my privilege to have been asked to propose a vote of thanks on this occasion. I, on behalf of EC department and the program organizers, extend a very hearty vote of thanks to the honorable delegates who blessed us with their presence and took out valuable time of your busy schedule. I must mention our deep sense of our appreciation for Mr. Prasad Jones for his work and myself. Also, I would like to extend a special thanks to Mr. Syed Akbar for inspiring us. I heartily congratulate to all the participants for their active participation in this event. So thank you guys for making this event successful with your contribution. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. And looking forward for the further interactions.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir. Fine. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay,
So take care,
participants.
all the participants. Yeah. So thank you and bye.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Participants will share the feedback form link through the WhatsApp group. Okay, so we fill it up within by 6 o'clock. So we will issue the e-certificate within 24 hours or maximum by 2 days. Okay. Thank you, participants. Thank you, sir. Thank you,
Thank you,
everyone.
sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Have a good day.